Hello, welcome to McBoss Capital channel. My name is Michael Chu. Today is for the week ending March 7, 2025. We're going to recap the market this week and also talk about some of the mega caps at the end. And let's see what's happening in the marketplace. So it looks like we have our second week down, second week down below the 50-day now. And we also broke the 200-day, which is the red line. This is not very good. Usually stocks will find support at the market will find support at the 200-day. And this time you can see it clearly broke it. And it didn't really come back too much, right? It's still quite far below this level here. Well, you can see the level there, right? So last time we broke it and we came back right away, right here. So like here's another one. We broke it and we come back right away, right? So if we don't see a bounce this week, I think we are in trouble. The market is basically telling us that hey, something is wrong, and whether you believe it or not, like the market is looking into it and saying, hey, you know what? Let's just institutions are selling and ask questions later. Here's the daily chart. So this day right here, I believe that was Monday, was a huge reversal. Rejected at the 10-day moving average. That is a huge reversal, and it basically undercut the previous day's low on the same day after hitting, the new high there, like new higher high, and that's a very bearish reversal. Then we slide under the 200-day right there, and then we bounce back on Wednesday, which was a good sign. But again, Thursday, we bounced in the morning, but we gave back and closed at the bottom, right? That's a new closing low here. And then on Friday, again, we gap down and we bounce back up. So the market is doing this like wish-wash every day, intraday, reversal. But ultimately, what it's doing is it's making higher lows. No, sorry, lower lows and higher highs, lower highs, right? So that's considered a real downtrend. And so far, this downtrend has been severe because, like I said, except this one day here, it came close to it, but it didn't even touch it. So this downtrend is really real. And as an investor, like no matter what your strategy is, I would say at this moment, it's probably best to wait until the market cross this line because this is a very steep line right now, like 45-degree angle, and at some point it will correct, and it will come above this, and that will at least show some possible signs of improvement then. But right now, we don't know what's going to happen. Like it could continue to go down and even accelerate and have a really big down day bar. And IBD Live was talking about 1987 crash. A sell-off precede that crash. So we don't know what's going to happen. So despite what you're thinking about the terrorists or the Ukraine war and everything, we just don't know what's going to happen, and uncertainties are rising, and a lot of market analysts are still optimistic, but they could be wrong. Maybe things are not going to get that good, right? Maybe it's going to get worse. So with that being said, I'm not here to instill fear in anything. I'm just saying let's just be patient and watch the market and let it do what it needs to. If it needs to correct another 10% on the index and turn into a bear market, then so be it. Right now, if I go to QQQ, we can see the drop here. This is roughly 9%, which is the Nasdaq 100 here, ETF. So this one looks slightly better, right? But still, it's very close to the Nasdaq composite. But like this is 9.1%. So if it does drop another 10% or so, we could be near that level somewhere around. So again, let's stay patient and watch this market. Definitely, it's not giving lots of opportunities either. Some of the growth stock trades I did this week did not work at all. Basically gave back some, and so again, trying to find the bottom is a tricky thing. But if there's stocks that have momentum and you want to trade them, yeah, see if they work. Don't be aggressive. Do smaller position just to see if it works, and if it works, then you continue to add onto it. There's no rush to be all in right now. This is not the time to be all in because the market could go a lot lower than most people think. and that's what happened in 2022, right? So we don't want to be, this only been 2 weeks, and look at the deterioration in the market. Like if this goes on for another 2, 3 months or 6 months, I mean, can you imagine how much more it can drop? Like I don't know. So um, you know, but again, with all this being said, like as a growth stock investor, I don't shy away from the market, right? Like I don't tune out basically. You watch every day and see if any new leadership will form, right? Those could be your new leaders. But at this time, I'm not seeing much, right? Other than some Chinese stocks and gold stocks, right? Really, those are the only two still standing well and even rising in some form. But most areas are either going down hard or they're just holding pattern, right? So anyhow, if you follow my growth stock list, we'll talk more about individual stocks. But for now, we'll continue with this market. S&P, you see very similar. It's just sitting at so S&P, the 200-day, a lot of people were watching that this week. Because this index has so many stocks in it, it usually get more attention. 500 stocks, right, and very good stocks. So companies there. So they want to see how the companies are doing. Again, this 10-day moving average is going to be the key. So far, it hasn't even come close. This whole week, it hasn't even come close to it, except Monday, from the drop. But this 200-day is crucial for S&P as well. You can see it tried to close above it. It did close above it on Friday. But again, we don't know if this is going to be bounced from here or whether this is just temporary, you know, 1 day move and then it continue the next day. So it all depends what news come out, right? Right now the market is so sensitive to news. Like I said, it's just if you want to trade those intraday swings, by all means. But I'm not. I just don't have the capacity to do those kind of trades. So yeah, Dow Jones. This one is still holding 200-day. So this one actually show better um, movement relatively. You can see the relative strength actually improving. So because he hasn't even hit the 200-day yet. So Russell is the weakest index. They continue to hit new lows on relative strength. This is a very sharp 10-day moving slope right here. Um, yeah, small caps are getting pounded right now. So growth stocks and speculative stocks especially are getting pounded even more. So this is not the time to be aggressive. At some point in time, they will turn. And whatever stocks you're following, you can watch that turn. And again, 10-day generally is where I watch. But this slope is so steep. I like to have a 45-degree angle slope better. It has higher probability of success if it does come back above it. So RSP, the equal weight S&P is also similar, holding at the 200-day. This is really good here, like because there's 4 days it touches that line, and it hasn't want to like it didn't so far have want to go below it much more. So I would watch this index if this one could hold and bounce back. That would be and because this is equal weight, that means like more stocks are actually trying to hold and bounce rather than hold and drop. Here's the Nasdaq 100 against this one similar to Nasdaq. It has dropped below the 200-day and it's trying to hold at that line right now. Again, down slope is very strong. Here's IBD 50 ETF, also very strong down slope, very similar to Russell. This one broke the 200-day line already many days ago, and you can see it's been heading lower. It did try to bounce on Friday, but again, that's a negative day still, so it doesn't really mean much. Unless it can fall to the next few days, it's probably gonna find resistance at this 10-day slope and then keep going lower. Now, one caveat is, just want to show you the stochastic. It is, again, when it comes to oversold secondary indicators, they can be reliable at most cases. Like usually, it does show the lows are at the bottom here. Here's another one, right? So we are pretty low right now. Like not only the past 20, like we are actually close to like you see near the five number here. So it's possible we get a bounce here. But again, uh, the market hasn't done that at all so far. Like every time it saw some bounce, it quickly dissipate, or it try to bounce on much weaker. The price strength is just so weak. Yeah. So there's something. It hasn't happened yet, but doesn't mean it won't happen. It could happen any day now. We could see a 3% bounce day, and everyone, gets short squeezed, right? Because a lot of people are shorting too, so that's why those days happen. It's when people get really go too far short, and then they get squeezed. So again, I just want to mention this because don't try to short the market right now because I think it's already oversold, right? So, but it can go a lot lower if bad news come out. So that's another thing to consider. Also Friday, yeah, in terms of economic news, we have really not so good numbers, right? So on Friday, what are the numbers here? 151,000 non-farm payroll in February versus 600,000 expected, right? This is IFBD Investor Business Daily newspaper here. Modest hiring for now. U.S. added 151,000 jobs in February, with the mid-month survey showing only a limited impact from those cuts in the federal workforce, but announced layoffs signal big cuts ahead. Meanwhile, the jobless rate ticked higher last month. So we went up to 4.1%. We're seeing lots of planned layoffs happening, so numbers are going to get weaker going forward. So that's another thing that market is trying to anticipate right now. In terms of market breadth, looking at the NYSE events decline line, it's actually not as bad on that line. I mean, we are hitting new lows, but we didn't hit new low on Thursday, like barely, if we did. And Friday bounced a little bit. So that's S&P, New York Stock Exchange. Nasdaq, you can see very similar. It did go down the last two weeks ago, but then this week, let's say, it didn't go down as much in the last 4 days. So we'll see whether you know if things starting to look exhausted. Good call trading volume here. Generally we like to see like hitting like a one level, right? Like where the puts and the calls are 1-to-1 at least, and you see the lows right here happen. We haven't seen that though, like since this rally started. Like since that rally in August, we haven't seen that happen. So yeah, so I don't know. It's not like at least it's 0.85 right now. 10 EU has started to bounce back. That's quite interesting. Despite lots of weaker consumer numbers and also job numbers, the US dollar actually dropped quite a bit this week. So yeah. So oil price also initially dropped, but it did bounce back by end of the week. But it did get rejected at the 10 days, so the slope of this is still pretty steep on the oil. So gold is the one area that definitely holding up better, and you can see here. Now I don't know about this recent tightness here. Like it looks good, but yet it's not moving higher. So it's not making new highs. So we'll see. Like it's still maybe too early, but if next week it doesn't come out, I would be more concerned about this. Yeah. For those who follow crypto, Bitcoin also tried to bounce back again. We're seeing resistance right here, very clear resistance right there. We get rejected on Friday again as well. So we will have CPI data coming out on Wednesday, so that'll be another big report. PPI Producer Price Index on Thursday. We have job openings on Tuesday. That could also impact the market if things are really weak. And then we have consumer sentiment on Friday. So basically every day, Tuesday to Friday, we have some economic news. We also have some earnings from Oracle, Adobe, DocuSign, Dollar General, and Kohl's. So this is Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta, their GDP now forecast here. So you can see right now the real GDP growth model estimate for first quarter of 2025 is negative 2.4%. You see a very sharp drop right here, and this is based on recent released data from Institute of Supply Management, the ISM, and the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis, and the U.S. Central Bureau, and now the forecast for real PCE, consumption expenditure growth, and real gross private domestic investment growth is from 0 to and 2.5% respectively, and they jumped to 0.4 and 4.8%, while the nowcast of the contribution of net exports growth fell to negative 3.57 to 3.84. So again, we're seeing domestic production improving, but we're also seeing net export going down. So yeah, so this might be a concern. A lot of analysts are still saying they don't see this, but this is what it's projecting, and I've been following this index for quite a while. It's been quite accurate over time. Like usually at the beginning of the estimate it's not accurate, but by the end it is usually pretty accurate. Like at least not too far off the real numbers that will come out, the actual numbers. So this is true, and that's why like maybe market is like really, some people say it's overreacting, but maybe not, right? Maybe this is real. This is like GP will turn negative, and we could have a technical recession, and yeah, so that's something to think about. So let's look at some mega caps here. We'll start with the semiconductors. You can see it did hit new low on Friday, but barely. So that's a good sign because I mean, at one point the index was down and this one was able to hold up. Like it did make a new low though. So but we're still under the 10-day slope here. So again, so far it hasn't even come back close to it. So again, all the index are showing some similar behavior. So we have to be a little bit cautious about this. That don't try to jump back in too early. We did make a new low, but we bounced. Again, is the bounce strong? I don't know. For me, I don't find it very strong. You know, but if we do recover like above, like let's say, yeah, even this level right here, like from 4 days of trading. And remember, this week was a pretty bad week, right? Overall, like, I mean, even though we have two bounce back day, Tuesday and Wednesday, but like Thursday we got hammered, and then Friday, I mean, it went up a little bit. So overall, I mean, Monday was really bad. You have two bad days, Monday, Thursday, and Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. Tuesday, Wednesday definitely better, and then Friday is somewhat in the middle, like okay. So overall, the market is very volatile, very news sensitive. So just any uncertainty will definitely cause big movement. And again, even intraday is very big move. I think almost every day is a 3% swing, right? Yeah, so it's just crazy. So Nvidia chart looks very similar to the index itself, the SMH index. Like you can see, it also make a new low. This one is definitely more obvious. Again, below 10-day. So until we come back above the 10-day, we could see a potential short-term rally. But right now we haven't seen that yet. TSM actually didn't make a new low here. That is actually interesting. And again, it's still below the 10-day though. And obviously, you heard recently TSM announced a big building big plans in US and putting lots of investments. ARM looks very similar. This one, if it did touch a new low, it would be have very little. So this one also shows signs that it may at least hold at this level. Again, the 10-day slope is right there, but this one is the closest one. You see how it's very close to it. So ARM, looks good. Avago is one that's on my growth list right now. It report really good earnings. But the market was really bad on Friday, and at the morning it was like pre-market it was up a lot, and then when market opened it kind of came back down, you know, more than half, like to 2 or 3% or something like that, and then it bounced back and closed it 8% gain that day, which is pretty good. And I did take a position. I jumped in a little too early here, but I mean because it's still below my 10-day, but I thought, hey, why not give this a go? And it's probably the last big guy to report their earnings. And if the market do turn around here, this will probably be one that will take off first. And so far, like I said, this looks pretty good. It's still below the 10-day. If it does come above it, definitely more strength, and maybe I'll add more position. But we'll see, right? Like again, the index itself is still very weak. We're still below 10-day, and the stock is also below 10-day. But this has a potential to be a leader because it did report really good earnings here, and now it report another quarter of good earnings. If we go look at the numbers here, you can see 110 to 156 this coming quarter. That's another big improvement. 124 to 166, 142 to 180, and 160 to 186. And you can see the sales are high teens or low 20. So this is really good performer in terms of earnings growth, and we see the earnings line doing this, right? On the software side, again, this is the third week down, now below the red line. This is now slightly below the 200-day, the black line, and we just did, on the daily chart, you can see it just came back to close slightly above it. Possible bottom, or at least temporary bottom, we don't know. Here's the 10-day slope right now. It's quite far below it right now. It couldn't go above it here. It tried many times, so this is a very big concern. So here's Microsoft. You know one of the things that as a swing trader, I call myself a swing trader, and possibly I can turn into a position trader if there's a strong growth stock. But in general, I'm looking for momentum, and one of the things that you look for is higher lows and higher highs, and we are seeing higher lows here. So now we just have to see higher highs, right? So if it bounces and make higher highs, then we have this trend, right? On the lows and on the highs, you have a channel line and you create that momentum. So we'll see if Microsoft is doing that. It is showing like good signs right now in terms of this pattern I just talked about. We'll see, again, but ultimately it has to come above the 10-day and this trend line on the highs right here as well. Here's Google. Google also showing lots of strength. You can see every day making higher lows. So by definition, this is an uptrend right now, even though it's still sitting near the 10-day. Amazon didn't show that pattern so far. It did try to come back above the 200-day, so we're still under this downtrend line right there. Same thing with Meta, same thing. This one, hasn't gone below the 200-day, but that's because it went up so much here. So here's Apple. It did undercut a little bit, not by much, and then it bounced. And right now it's just sitting at the 10-day. All the short-term moving average are converged now, so you can see the 10, 21, 50-day moving averages are all converted at this point. So this is actually very healthy. Again, I really like this chart. This is like a cup with handle right here, right? And the middle point is exactly at the 50-day. So this is like a classic example of a cup with handle. Sometimes some people like the handle to be higher, but this will qualify. To me, this still qualifies as a cup with handle. So right now the volume has been really low. We just need to see it break out. We need to see like a high volume day, and that will break out on probably around this level right there, that channel line on the highs here. So we'll see if that happens. Apple can be bullish there. So Tesla still on the downtrend line right here, very steep. You can see it just keep making higher lows and lower highs. Sorry, lower lows and lower highs. So finally we have Netflix. So it's probably hard for you to see. I did attempt to try to trade this stock right there on that day where it bounced back above the 10-day shortly. But the next day it got hammered. And it hit my stop at the lows right here on near the 50-day line. And so, and then after that it basically fell through really quickly, and then you see it went this far, but it did bounce back a little bit on Friday. So we'll see what happens here, but again, this is not a good sign. And we're seeing lots of stocks doing this right now. Even that's the ones that have been holding up last week, actually, like this week, it actually fell apart, and this was one of them. So yeah, make sure to follow my growth stocks list video next, and hope to see you there. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.